For millions of years, the waters of Central and Eastern Europe have emptied into the Black Sea. From mountain streams and sluggish plains, they combined to form a great river known as the Danube. People fought on, fought over, and fought against it. It has been trapped, tapped, and channeled, but never completely tamed. My name is Nick Thorpe. For more than half my life, I've lived beside the Danube in Budapest. As the country of my birth, Great Britain, cuts loose from a Europe bruised by Brexit and cut by the coronavirus, I'm staying put. But I'm not staying still. I'm travelling against the flow. This is my journey up the Danube in search of the lost heart of Europe. From Romania, I continue my journey up the Danube into Serbia. This knuckle of land has been fought over by armies since ancient times. One culture overlapped another like the waters of the Danube, and streams tumbled into it from both sides. While some people adapt to change, others explore the old ways, hoping to find themselves in the past. But the Danube washes away the pain, heals the wounds. The music helps. So does looking down on it all from above. The iron gates, where the river cleaves its path between Romania on one side and Serbia on the other. According to legend, Hercules pushed these rocks apart. For centuries, ships were wrecked on the rocks here, and armies were ambushed. Then the iron gates dams were built and the gates were opened forever. The water level rose 30 meters. The river became a lake. This is the Tabula Traiana, the place where Trajan, the plaque which he had erected to commemorate the building of a road and the Roman conquest of the iron gates here. This plaque actually used to stand 30 meters below where I am here on the shore of the river, but when it was flooded by the Iron Gates Dam, the river level rose, this storage lake rose 30 meters high, and so they moved the plaque right up so that it would not be lost. The shore of the Danube is thick with fortresses. Whoever controlled the Danube controlled the entire region. The castles changed hands many times, as often for gold or wedding gifts as by force of arms. When I last visited Golubac, it was a ruin. Now it's been renovated to be besieged by the new superpower in the Balkans, tourists. They're here to be entertained by so-called tradition keepers. It may seem like child's play, but it gives me a chance to ask a question on my mind since the Balkan Wars of the 1990s. Are Serbs really so warlike?
This hand
goes up. Yeah.
elbow is up, and you are
Okay.
And pull it.
push
Okay.
it and
And then
pulling
pull it right
in
back.
the same time, and
Yeah.
just a little bit
Go down.
go down
Yeah.
like that, and it just. Oh, great!
Oh, okay.
Nice. That was great. This is the first time.
Try it.
This is the first one. Hi.
Oh, hello.
Nick,
Dobry.
why are you dressed like this?
Well, this outfit on me, it's actually a replica of medieval armor from 14th century from Serbia, and we choose to reenact the period from 14th and 15th century because that was the brightest moments in our history.
The most heroic.
Yeah, most heroic, and at that time Serbia was defending the Europe from Muslims, from Ottomans.
How much is this, linked to you being a Serb, a fighting nation with a history of war? I guess all nations have a history of war, but...
Yeah, of course, but living in Serbia, well, living on Balkans, you are in war in any time of your life.
You look like a warrior, even
yeah,
without
well,
the...
I look like a chef, but still living like that kind of life, you have to be prepared.
What have you got here that I could wear?
For you, we have this tunic.
Okay.
This is the tunic from the findings from the late 14th century.
Is it my size?
It is.
So, the swords.
We have also maces, but mace it's strictly for brutal force.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be a fine weapon for noble like you are. And maybe something under the table, like this.
So what's the idea, man?
It's time to walk the walk.
Okay.
No. So you have to be really fast, to attack and go back. Attack, go back. Attack, go back. So everything it's allowed without hitting in the head.
So you can hit down too?
Yeah, of course,
Yeah.
of course.
But not the head?
Not the head, because you're a really important guy and I'm not gonna hit you in the head. You have to be pretty.
I need a break.
You need a break? Okay.
And then I'd be worried about all the people watching, but in fact, in the heat of battle, you forget quite fast that there's anyone here. It was just me and Dobry and the castle. And our lives, I guess. As a reporter in this region, I covered some of the wars around the breakup of Yugoslavia, and something I noticed, really, that was, I think, for the men fighting on different sides, actually, those were probably the best days of their lives, because, strangely, they were fighting for something. Their life had a meaning.
Those wars were so stupid. Me as a Serb, I'm born at that time. I changed 4 countries and I didn't move from my home. And on the end, we are the same people. I wanted to my daughter, and my kids are growing up in Serbia. I definitely want to my kids learning Serbian history, Serbian tradition after everything. And I'm gonna learn them that on the end, all of people are friends. There is no enemies. There is different opinions, different politics, but humans are humans.
The Danube speaks its own language. It speaks in colours. Beneath the castle of Ram, it's silver. Here, Zhika, a third-generation ferryman, lives and works. Wars have come and gone, but his family have continued cutting black lines across the Silver River with their ships of souls.
Znači, najveća porodično bogatstvo, najveća porodična investicija su deca i unuci, i da nastavim tu tradiciju porodičnog, zanatskog, privrednog biznisa koji su oni radili. I evo od 1985. godine i do dan danas radim iste poslove sa kojima su se bavili i moji preci, odnosno moj otac i moj ded. Onaj koji treba da nastavi našu porodičnu tradiciju, to je ovaj najmlađi, i nadam se da će i oni uspešno da nastave tu tradiciju poslovanja koje je davne 1920. godine započeo moj ded.
In exchange for a bit of help packing wood, he agreed to take me on his ship of souls to the far side.
Jedan pored drugog, dva napred. Znači, osjećanja su veoma duboka i veoma povezan. Ja sam dobio taj nadimak Žika Skeleđija, što mi je veoma drago, jer samim tim ulazite u neku legendu svih brodara koji na ovim prostorima žive i rade.
Was just asking them to move the truck loaded with wood a bit further forward to get the balance better. It was too much towards the back, the stern of the boat, and he was worried about the dynamics of the ferry. But now he's moved it forward, they're putting it back, and we can set out across the Danube now.
Tu nema nešto mnogo hrabrosti, jednostavno procenite da je veća opasnost nego korist i vi da bi zaštitili i sebe i posao i putnike morate da prestanete sa radom. Da je moj stric se udavio prilikom prelaska reke 53. godine prevozići par putnika, 6-7, da se svi podavili, upravo iz razloga prevelike hrabrosti. Još je bio izuzetan plivač, armijski prvak, ali je prenebregnuo činjenicu da se uvek u datom momentu nešto može desiti, pa su uplašeni putnici počeli da na tom malom čamcu, ne ovako velike skelama, to su bili mali čamci, da se nekontrolisano kreću, on se prevrnuo i podavili su se svi.
What's this coming up out of the river here?
It's the floated barge.
It's a barge.
Yeah, it's a flooding. It was a full with the sand, gravel, and during night the cruiser ship was passing nearby, and he produced really big waves. And the big waves enter inside, and the barge is flipped over.
Wow.
To je jedna očigledno velika opomena za sve nas, da uvek moramo, koliko god voleli i želeli i na neki način drugovali sa našim Dunavom, moramo da ga respektujemo. To je jedna velika snaga, velika drevna mogućnost da vam i doprinese da imate korist, ali i da vas kazni ako budete nesmotrebni.
Over many years travelling up and down this river, I've tried to persuade ferrymen to speak, but they almost always refuse. Perhaps the symbolism of their job is the reason, ferrying men and women from this life to the other world on the far bank for a few coins. Žika is a rare exception.
Što ste, gospodine Dik, rekli da ste putovali Dunavom i gore i dole. Ja, nažalost, nisam, ali sam putovao ovde u granicama Srbije. Moja životna želja da nakon 70. godine, kada zvanično odem u penziju i predam sljedećim generacijama, da svojim brodićem odem do delte Dunava i odem gore do izvorišta. To je moja životna želja i nadam se da ću je sačekati. Što se tiče obala, gde je obala živih, obala mrtvih, za mene su obale živih. Ne dao Bog da budu obale mrtvih. Ja gledam jednu i drugu obalu, da pođem sa živima i da stignem sa živima. Ne posmatram u kontekstu bilo koga da može da strada u tom putu. Zato po meni nema obale mrtvih.
Talking to Žika reminded me just how many astonishing stories of human resourcefulness and endurance can be found in every bend of this old river. But it's not only the individual stories. Lurking half-submerged beneath the waters on this section of the river are the traces of great civilizations which help shape the course of human history. Did they look out every morning at the same rocks? To find out, I must visit the most peculiar building on the whole Danube, a strange glass cage, a greenhouse of the gods. Beneath the glass lie the remains of the late Neolithic site of Lepenski Vir. Unearthed in the 1960s, it had to be recreated further up the bank when the river rose because of the dam. From 7000 to 4000 BC, people lived here undisturbed, fishing and trading and mixing with migrants, making their way up the Danube. They carved these strange gods, half fish, half human, unique on Earth. Made of quartz sandstone, each was placed beside the hearth of the houses. Archaeologists gave them names: Foremother, Progenitor, Danubius. They gaze right through or over us. The director of the site, Vladimir Nojkovic, showed me around.
It looks good. You go first.
Yeah, on my risk, yeah. Okay, so based on what they found here, we know for sure that the construction of the house was similar to tent shape, let's say.
And facing always with the entrance towards the river, towards the Danube.
Towards the Danube, but towards the east side, which was very important also.
The east, to have the sunrise.
Yeah, so the first early morning sun goes directly into the houses.
Lepensky Vir is the earliest planned human settlement in Europe. On that, everyone agrees. But who these people were and what they believed is pure mystery. These are fish faces with the mouth kind of
reminds you about
down the catfish, I guess.
Beluga,
or rather the
sturgeons. Yeah. If you pull up the sturgeon, you will see the similar shape of the mouth. Yeah, it was obviously for them the water was source of life, source of survival on this location. Sturgeons were coming here to leave the eggs from the Black Sea and stuff like that. So we can say today that maybe they even eat caviar in that time, or ate caviar.
Hanging out in this Danubian Atlantis, feasting on caviar, kept company by fish gods, it's little wonder that they stayed here so long. I trekked up into the mountains above Lepensky Vir, into the forests where the Lepanians must have hunted red deer and wild boar. At the headwaters of the stream, the thick undergrowth gives way to an enchanted land of mulberries and waterfalls. Serbian legends suggest this place is infested with fairies and other friendly creatures. After a few hours in these mountains, I found another stray soul, Maya Tufonic-Pavlovich. She's probably one of the last people in these mountains who still knows how to wash gold, unperturbed by the fact that this was traditionally a male occupation.
It's men's job.
It's a men's job. Why is that? Women don't like to do it, or they're not allowed to?
For women, it was always in this area forbidden to go fishing, to doing something.
That's not very fair.
It's not.
No.
It's changing. You know, we have one of the biggest copper and gold mines in Europe. They needed a lot of workers, so women started to work. Socialistic period, it was very important to employ women.
Yes. So I just add some water to it, yeah?
Add some,
a little bit,
yes.
or not very much?
Just a little bit, and just shake it again.
What's the biggest piece you ever found, Maya?
Me?
Yeah.
I must tell you, only 1 gram.
1 gram, really?
Yes, yes.
But you don't.
Very, very small.
But you don't spend all your life looking.
No.
No.
In our rivers, especially in the river Pek, is really pure gold, 22 carats. So that's the purest gold.
And
I must help you because.
Yeah. I think you're going to be quicker at it.
It will get dark until the end.
We followed the River Pek underground, where its water carved out a huge system of caves, stretching all the way to the Danube. Does this cave complex, could one walk through to the Danube here? Have you ever tried?
No. Still no, we tried every year, we're trying to find that new channels because we have a legend about some robbery, Raiko. That's why this cave has that name.
He was a brigand or a hero, a robber or a hero?
Yes, local hero. He lived 200 years ago. He robbed passengers and entered in his cave, his white cave, somewhere close to the town, and went out somewhere where the Danube is, and reverse.
So that was his, escape route, in a way?
Yes.
And they never caught him?
No, because he disappeared. If someone someday will find that drawing hand like this with 4 fingers, there is the entrance of a room full of gold.
So his treasure may still be here?
Maybe.
It takes a very long time for one of these stalactites to grow. How long?
It's very slow process. Creating of one form, it needs exactly for 1 centimeter at least 300 years. So around us we have beautiful forms, but they are thousands and thousands years old.
Maybe we could listen to the silence for a moment, and then I wonder if you, after a little while of silence, would you be willing to sing something for us, because the acoustics here are marvelous?
I will try. I didn't sing a long time, but I remember one very old song, Serbian song, but I will try. Jutros mi je ruža procvetala, ružu gledam pa sam zaplakala. Ružo moja, mladost sam ti dala, za mog dragog sve sam tebi dala.
Thank you. That was beautiful.
Not everyone wants to rely on pure luck to find gold to survive hard times. Like alchemists, charcoal burners turn wood to gold in their smoking domes, dotted along the shore where the river meets the Danube. But their treasure isn't heavy, it's light.
This is the first smoking charcoal burner's kiln I've seen. I've been travelling up and down this river valley, and all the other ones are just still, but this one, at last I found a smoking one.
There used to be a big demand from local homes and restaurants where people love to cook meat or fish on charcoal. But the tradition is fading away as tougher nature protection regulations make it harder to cut the beech or willow they need. Many have quit to find another way of living. Biljana's family adapted successfully to the changing times. Over a coffee or something stronger, we discuss the soft and rough edges of the old and the new.
To je moj tata, moja
Your father?
baba I moja mama.
And your mother?
Da, mama.
Wow. And so from your father you learned to
Da.
make the charcoal?
Da, od tate sam nasledio da napravim čumur I tako.
As a dynasty of charcoal burners going back generations, it wasn't easy for them to exchange their precious black soot for milk. Now they produce organic milk and cheese, supplying local communities.
They're sisters?
Sestre bliźniakinje.
Hello. It's
Santa
a
Maria.
one big family, or several big families.
Mother and daughters and sisters.
Yes.
Breza? Ne, ali miriši na čisto, znaš, ne...
Yeah, it smells good.
Zašto to mi je bilo zadovoljstvo, to od mladosti sam radila sa čumur od 19-20 godine. To sa čumur smo radili I bilo para. I uđe u srce. I ovo volim. ali volim krave, ali ono još bolje.
Beautiful.
No? It's organic because dođe muve. Da ne bi bilo organsko, ne bi došla nijedna muva.
It's very good.
Roditelji su se penzionisali i nismo više u toj mogućnosti da to radimo. I zato smo se opredelili u mlečno govedarstvo, zato što živimo u ovom kraju gdje je sve organsko, gdje nemamo jako razvijenu industriju, infrastrukturu i to nam daje prednost da ka proizvodnji organske hrane. Kako je bistra i čista voda, dobro je se
So this is where your family burnt charcoal, created charcoal.
7 dana ugljenisanja i procesa proizvodnje. 7 dana. Nakon toga 7 dana se gasi se vatra. Znači gasi se, gubi se kiseonik. Nema kiseonik, nema vatre, nema ničega.
Look at that.
Profesor poljoprivrednog fakulteta kaže, mislim što je činjenica i tačnost, da ugalj sadrži pozitivne mikroorganizme. Možete, ako pijete malo više, uzmete, progutate.
You're eating it. I think I'm going to taste it as well. Hang on.
Ne mnogo, malo. Nemate alkohola.
Malo.
Da, malo.
Just a small piece.
Da.
And if you've drunk 2 rakijas?
Ja, retko kad.
Just 1 rakia.
Da.
It would, 1 brandy, it would disguise.
Prljavo pa de. To je prljavo, ali od toga
Dusty business.
To je crno zlato. Black gold.
Black gold, yeah.
Charcoal is so precious because it burns at such a high temperature. Whole forests were cut down to make iron and steel. But with enough rainwater, the trees grow back. But what about the people lost in the wars? Nothing will bring them back. Belgrade, the capital of Serbia, owes its power and beauty to the confluence of the Sava and Danube rivers. But on this visit, the rain and the fog matched my darker memories. As a reporter in the city when NATO planes rained missiles, and I stood at my hotel window as explosions lit up the night sky and the city shook. In 1999, NATO bombed Yugoslavia, including the capital, Belgrade, for 78 days. The targets were announced in advance, military and infrastructure. So were the reasons to end President Slobodan Milosevic's military actions in Kosovo. But hundreds of Serb civilians were killed too. Now only the rain falls on this city, and it's safe to drive through town with an ex-soldier. I wonder how his memories contrast with mine. What did you think when you heard that the television station, the main TV station, public service station, had been bombed here in Belgrade?
The first thing a regular man can think is only one, I think. Why? Why would anybody do that? Why is this a legit military target?
Mio, you were actually watching television at the moment this TV station was attacked.
Yes, it just goes dark, just goes black. But
the screen went black.
Yeah, but in that time it was usual because the electricity went on and off every day almost on daily basis. So 18 people died at the moment of blast. 18 people died, and I think 18 more got seriously injured, and they were all side jobs for stuff. There were no reporters. Yeah, technician guys, makeup guys, doing their job for inform the people of Serbia what happened in Belgrade and the rest of the country that day. So it really gave us bad taste in the mouth and in the heart and in the minds and everything.
It's a kind of monument to the war, or are they going to fix it?
Staying like this, I don't know. It can be watched in two ways. It should stay like this, or definitely we can move on, but never forget.
NATO officials said the television was a legitimate target, part of the Serbian command and control network and central to its propaganda. That they warned them of the impending attack and chose a time, 2 a.m, when it should have been empty. Mio was called up to serve in the Serbian army. While some conscripts fled the country and others made excuses, he went. Coming back to the 99, you were serving on the Bulgarian border and you were sent there really to defend your country against a possible land attack, but your family were here. Your parents, your sisters?
I think at the moment we were more considerate about them back here.
More worried about your families back in the capital.
That's right, that's right. Pretty hard time for everybody, for them here, because they were worried about us, and there were no mobile cell phones that we could, just text, call, say, I'm okay, don't worry. No.
So how did you get messages to your family?
Letters.
Letters?
Letters, yes.
So the postal service kept
Yeah. I remember one time I got 7 letters in the army and I was so happy. 7 letters, wow. 7 people thought of me.
The army, the police and Serbian paramilitaries committed war crimes in Kosovo against ethnic Albanians, just as crimes were committed against them. The NATO bombing forced the Serbs to withdraw, and Kosovo became an independent state. But before I leave Belgrade, I have some unfinished business. I'm going to meet the man who publicly sentenced me to death. At the time of the NATO bombing, Miki Vujovic ran a TV station called Palma. On the first night of the bombing, he put up a photo of me and an American journalist and told viewers to kill us as enemy reporters. I'm meeting him in the Hyatt, from where I and other journalists were reporting the conflict.
Hi, my friend. Welcome.
Drago mi je. Miodrag, thank you very much for meeting me today.
No. With really pleasure.
What language shall we speak, English or Serbian?
Serbian, of course, because I don't like foreign language. Posle prve bombe otišao sam u studio, u moju televiziju i obratio se svojim gledaocima i rekao sam im dosta toga, pogotovo o bračnom paru Clinton. Veruj mi da ti ne želim da dođeš u situaciju pa da se uveriš da je u tom slučaju teško da spavaš. A siguran sam kad bi došao u tu situaciju da bi ti našao snage da uradiš sve ono što misliš da treba da uradiš za svoje gledaoce.
So do you remember showing the image of me or any other journalists that night on your screen?
Moguće je da sam tada prikazao i deo snimka iz jednog hotela u Beogradu. Priznajem, imao sam veoma loše mišljenje o vama. Iz jednog jedinog razloga, izvinjavam se što sam skrenuo pogled jer mi je teško i da se setim toga. Iz jednog jedinog razloga, pošto sam u startu video da vas ne interesuje istina i da su vas poslali ovde da širite laži, a ne da kažete šta se dešava.
He cannot find, he says, the screenshot of me from his channel. But the same day as his broadcast, an infamous Serbian paramilitary leader, Arkan, held responsible for the murder of many civilians in Kosovo, Bosnia and Croatia, started rounding up reporters in this hotel at gunpoint. And I escaped.
i da je tako bilo i da vas je pronašao tamo, on bi se samo sa vama šalio, na grub način, ali šalio. Realne opasnosti ne verujem, u stvari siguran sam da ne bi bilo. Jer, znate, ratište je ratište.
After this surreal encounter, the only thing to do, in typical Serbian style, was to try to wash it all away with a drink. Mickey suggested one of his favourite bars, shaped like a train wagon and modelled on Victoria Station in London.
This is new modern part of Wagon Victory for young people.
Živjeli.
Welcome.
Thank you.
This is my favourite place in New Belgrade.
It's a railway carriage.
Yes, like Victoria Station in London. We make Victoria Station in Belgrade. English people put bomb to us. Logic, Western part.
Where is the heart of Europe for you?
Oh.
Here.
No. If you don't believe, please. Russia, Ukraine, Poland, Czechia, Slovakia, Mađarska, Austrija, Njemačka, pola Francuske, pola Italije, everything is Serbia.
Everything is Serbia?
Yes,
all of Europe is Serbia?
With a different name, but it's Serbia. Do you know who is Etrurci?
The Etruscans, yes.
Do you know?
Serbs, probably.
Yeah, no, probably, sure.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. Sure, my friend.
I can't help thinking that if I had been hurt then, he would explain it away now to someone else. I'm not a judge to condemn, but I have to report not just the facts, but my fears as well, based on what I have seen, where all this can lead. Next stop, north from Belgrade to Novi Sad. Serbia's second city also lost its bridges, which have now been rebuilt. There's a lighter feel here, less heavy history than the capital, more young people and lots of babies. Novi Sad is the rock capital of Serbia. From the 1960s, radio stations here broadcast the latest Western bands to the youth of Eastern Europe, and spawned local bands too, like the Love Hunters.
What they will say to me, I mustn't tell, 'cause it really is.
They're not exactly political, but there's a certain irony in their songs which reflects both the love and the squalor of the old Yugoslavia. Their frontman, Milan Mumin, suggested we meet in his barber's shop to get to know each other a little closer.
Dobar dan.
Dobar dan.
Samo malo.
Dobro. Eto, baš kad ne treba. Komšija kasnije. It's okay?
Okay. So, were you here in '99 at the time of the NATO bombing?
Yeah, I was here.
You were here then?
Exactly. The most terrible bombing was at the Zagreb Bridge. So,
so people had been warned, don't cross them because
exactly.
NATO might destroy them.
People was always warned.
Yeah.
I was so pissed off on our leadership and on our government at that moment.
But did you think of my country, Britain, for example, as an enemy? You must have felt pretty angry, though. No?
But not on other countries.
No. I guess the war in Yugoslavia, there's some people feel it was, I was here as a journalist for some of those wars, and I guess I always felt that there was something suicidal about it. That the country, Yugoslavia, was committing suicide, but of course some people think it was being killed from outside, but the other view is that it was tearing itself apart.
Of course, tearing itself. I'm not that, conspiracy theorist at all, since I was the last generation of great Yugoslav army, and I served in Split, in Croatia.
Yeah.
The very last generation of Navy. Mm-hmm. It was very heartbreaking for me to see that kind of things in Croatia, later on in Bosnia, later on in Kosovo. I have bunch of great friends, Muslims, Croatians, Albanians, since I served, you know,
in the army.
Last mixed up army. And it was great memory for me, but also brings out that, you know, weird and painful memories. And Nick, what do you think about the Brexit thing, UK?
It's not the end of the world, but I'm not very happy with it. I mean, I wouldn't want to walk into a pub and ask for half a litre of beer, you know. I want to ask for a pint of beer, but I think we could have kept the pint
even
and
like
stayed
pint.
in Europe, yeah.
Remember when my life started burned, always try to find a reason why I live on this earth, why I am the chosen one. I'm your little suicider, I'm everything what you didn't want. Yes, it's me. Don't worry, I will set you free.
Živeli.
So the band, how have you been together a long time?
We made the band in...
The three of you?
30
Yeah.
years.
30 years? Wow.
More. We made the band in 1987 originally.
Oh, right. And it was called Love Hunters from the beginning?
Yes. In 1987 was Love Hunters. Before I have a couple of bands, but...
So you've all been hunting love that long?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So here we are in Novi Sad, but why do you sing in English then?
No, I was always considered English as a rock and roll language kind of thing. You know, like French is for chansona, Italian for canzona, German for porno movies. Yes. That kind of thing, you know. So English is for rock and roll.
But what they will say to me, I mustn't tell. Because it really is true. I mustn't tell, because it really is true.
The bombing of Belgrade was foreshadowed by other wars in Croatia and Bosnia as Yugoslavia fell apart in the 1990s. These cliffs in Vúkovar on the Danube in Croatia show traces of volcanic eruptions from thousands of years ago. But the siege of the city was a man-made disaster. It lasted 87 days, the first town destroyed in Europe since the Second World War. This water tower provided target practice for Serbian gunners. It's been left more or less as it was. Just outside town, in a small hangar, I found the Borovo Flying Club. Its members are all veterans of the Yugoslav Air Force who declared allegiance to Croatia when war broke out. Some people find solace swimming in the Danube, others flying above her. Velimir Molnar took me up into his world.
Normalno da je lijep osjećaj letiti tu iznad rodnog pejzaža, znači sam odrastao, ja sam tu rođen, odrastao i poznajem te ljude, poznajem što kaže svako drvo, svaku krivinu. Kupao sam se na Dunavu, plovio Dunavom, sam ostavio na aerodromu, ja sam od 74. godine se bavio padobranstvom, jumping parašutinga iz 74. godine. Jo? I kasnije sam se školovao za pilota, letio na jedrilicama, letio na avionima i završio za instruktora letenja, i tako, eto. Uglavnom, to sam sve obavio još za vrijeme Jugoslavije, jel? A ovdje, ovaj klub je bio jedan od najjačih klubova u Jugoslaviji. Inače, avion u ovome aeroklubu je postojalo 4 aviona prije ovog Domovinskog rata i 5 jedrilica. Ovaj avion je slučajem sticajem okolnosti preživio što je bio u Osijeku.
Such a simple design, but so elegant.
Iz nagib u desno, jel? Onda dajemo, tamo se podiže, znači stvara se uzgon. Znači, podiže se nos aviona i 10 godina, malte ne, to se izgradilo. Inače, kad su se mi vratili u Vukovar, to je sve još bilo ruševno, ljudi su živjeli, sve je bilo u korovu, u travi, ljudi su živjeli, stakla nije bilo na prozorima, najloni i tako. Jako su teško ljudi živjeli. Kad smo se mi vratili, to se sve oporavilo, izgradilo, i tako.
Such a beautiful machine. Lijepo.
I've travelled upriver in many different forms of transport on this journey. This is the first time I've flown over the river like a bird. Also to be flying over a city that suffered such a terrible siege, see how much this city has been rebuilt in the last 21 years.
In the air, no borders exist between nations. Towns and villages dwindle in importance. Human ingenuity in learning to fly, and above all, not crashing, seems marvelous. The floodplains and great wetland forests at Kopacki Rit mark the point where the Drava River flows into the Danube, towards the north, where my journey continues.